Hey guys, and welcome back to Walker's Workshop. Today in the workshop we got a small engine on a generator. It's a dual fuel setup, propane and gasoline. Not something I see a lot of information about. We're going to give her a check over today. Problem it's having is an extended start. Doesn't matter whether it's on gas or propane, it's the same issue. We're going to check it out and see if we can get her fixed up. Okay guys, we're over here. I got the mobile workbench out today. I like working up high where I can get to things. I don't like have to be bent over. It's nice, it's up here in the light. Let's check it out. First thing I noticed when I looked at this thing, picked it up, is this ground wire. Goes up here to the battery. It is melted and crusty and nasty and, well, not connected. So I don't think that really has much to do with our extended start problem. I think this was caused from the extended start. Burning it up. Up here we got our shut off on and off for our propane. Shut off on and off for our gasoline. Propane hookup. Of course gasoline goes in the top. I already pulled the air cleaner cover off to kind of look inside, make sure there wasn't any kind of debris. We're going to get the cover panels pulled off and I'll bring you guys back. Okay guys, we got a couple of the covers pulled off. I pulled the air cleaner cover off, loosened up the side cover over here. I want to go ahead, the carburetor doesn't look bad, but I want to go ahead and pull it off. We're going to give it a good cleaning because it's been sitting a little while. I want to check the gas, make sure that's all good. We're going to go over the regulator, kind of how it works, how it makes liquid propane out of the bottle into an air, not really an air, but you know, into a gas form that goes into the carburetor. So let's go ahead and pull this carburetor off. Get my pliers, move that hose clamp, pull this hose off here, slide the carburetor out. Now I got a little container here. I have the gas turned off, but I have the container here to catch any that may be left over in the lines. And there's just a couple of drops, so no big deal there. So on the bottom of the carburetor here, this is a solenoid that turns off the gas when you turn off the engine. So that way, you know, the engine is turning a lot of RPMs when you shut it off, and it would still pull in gas out of the carburetor when the spark plug's not making spark. So in order to prevent all that gas being in there unburnt, there's a little shut off solenoid right here. Shuts the gas off at the same time the spark gets shut off. All right, one thing is noteworthy. As you can tell, I'm draining this old gas out. I could have taken it outside. It's really windy. The gas would have blown everywhere today. My garage, I have the doors open. You should do this in a well-ventilated area. Like I say, I did open the door. If you're doing this and you have heat in your shop, depending on what kind of heat it is, if it's like a wood stove or a coal stove, it is very important. You need to remember that the fumes in here will be flammable. That being said, that is one thing I love about using my waste oil heater. When I want to do projects like this, it's going to get a little fumey in here. I don't want to risk, you know, an explosion. I just simply shut it down, start it back up when I'm done. I feel it's most ventilated. If you guys remember, that was in my last video. You guys can check that out. That's the DIY waste oil heater video. Really great for doing stuff like this. Alright, now that we got the carburetor removed, we're going to go ahead and get the propane regulator removed. Of course, I don't have any propane bottle hooked up to it or anything. Just simply a hose here. We're going to undo the hose fitting. The hose clamp, I mean, they're not a fitting. The fitting goes on the bottle side. Okay. Pop that hose up off of there. Okay, and we got it. Propane regulator. Alright, so in this carburetor here, this is where your propane comes in. This is where your gasoline comes in. The gasoline comes in, and of course, through where the fuel stop is here with the needle and the float, and of course gets sucked up in through here where the jets are, into the engine. However, there is no jets for the propane. It is simply, see if I can get a light in here. It is just simply straight through right into that propane. So if I put it in this side, you'll see there is no obstruction in there. There's no jets in there, no nothing. So on this regulator, the way it works, the propane pressure gets put into here. Okay, I've already taken the screws out here. It pushes pressure on this diaphragm, right? So this diaphragm's all puffed up. In here, there's a little valve. And when this diaphragm is moved all the way this direction, right, it's puffed out from all the propane pressure. This is not as simple. It's not just a fuel line like you would think in a gas car where it's pushing pressure out of here. It doesn't actually, there's no pressure that gets pushed through this regulator, okay? It's actually a vacuum line, right? So it comes out of the carburetor right there. You saw unobstructed. It's a vacuum line. It gets pulled out, okay? So pressure in here, right, pushes this out all the way, and it's stopped, right? If there's no vacuum on here, the pressure is pushing on here. The valve is basically, it's closed when there's pressure. As soon as this starts pulling vacuum from the engine, right, your engine's cranking over, it's pulling a vacuum. This diaphragm, this valve, you can see it moves in and out here. This valve gets pulled slowly and slowly and slowly open like this, and then the propane is allowed to flow through here. Of course, it's only a limited amount. Of course, that's preset by the manufacturer. It's different for every engine, every size carburetor, every cc of engine is going to have a different amount of airflow. But that's basically it, right? So propane goes in here. It pushes this diaphragm out, which is a valve. In here, the valve is closed. As soon as this pulls vacuum from your engine, it opens this valve, lets the propane flow through freely. And of course, the amount of vacuum your engine is pulling determines the amount of propane that's allowed to flow through here. So real simple, just like that. There's nothing to it. Blow a little air through there, maybe put just a touch of like WD-40, lube it up good, make sure it works fine, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, so another little tip. I told you I'm going to make my own gaskets. I got some gasket material here. If you're doing this and you have, you know, I'm using a flange here which goes between the engine and the carburetor, and you're using a Sharpie to do your outlines, you know, sometimes you can't always get them inside the holes. If this had an orifice that went all the way through, you know, your pen wouldn't fit, your marker wouldn't fit, maybe a pencil. Take your pen apart. Just use the inside. That gets right down inside there, real easy. Circle that around, you know, do all your tracing. Neat little trick. Some of you guys probably already knew that. Just thought I would mention it. Help you guys out. So I'm going to show you the reassembly process on this particular carburetor. They're all different. So, I mean, what you see here isn't going to be the same thing as you might see on one of your other projects, a different small engine. But I'll show you quick how this one goes together. There wasn't a whole lot to take apart on this. I already showed you the guys what was here, the screws. There's no external jets to take off the outside. It's just simply this main jet drops down in there. None of that is threaded. This is the keeper that holds the main jet in place. It's a straight screwdriver. Let me get the right one here. This one. Perfect. Put him in there, and there's no adjustment to this. This just goes in, and it gets tight. Make sure you don't like seriously super crank these down. There's no reason for it. If you have one get lodged in here, then it's stripped out and you can't get it out, you might as well just get on Amazon and order another carburetor, because they are not fun to get out. Brass does not take kindly to easy outs, usually. On my gaskets, this is a little rubber O-ring gasket guy. I just simply use grease. No kind of, gasket maker or silicone sealant on there. Just a little bit of grease simply gets it right down in place. You could use WD-40. A lot of people use that on O-rings. Simply goes down in place. I did not have to take the needle off of the float. It's in there in a nice little latched way. Down over there. There's not any adjustment on this one as far as float settings because of it being how the plastic float is set up. You can still check it, and the carburetor, keep your eye on the needle in there. Make sure it's going up and down, opening. Everything's working properly there. Go ahead and throw this bolt on. Make sure it's clocked in the same direction as it was when we took it off. Spin the nut on the bottom. Of course, I'm going to put this as an O-ring seal right here. I'll take just a little dab of grease on my fingers. Spin that guy around there. Spin him in. Tighten him up. Now our shut-off solenoid goes right here on the bottom. That's just simply 2 screws. Goes up in there. There's nothing special about it. And that's it. We got our old gasket that we were able to save. The new gasket I already put on the machine. And that's it. We'll go ahead and get it assembled. Okay. I went ahead and I reinstalled the carburetor. Checked the spark plug. Checked the oil. That's all, day 101 stuff. We'll go ahead, raise her back up and see what happens. Alright, so I left the air cleaner housing off just in case something went awry here. I got easy access. Gasoline hose, propane hose connected, the clamps are tight, regulator's tight, carburetor's tight. There are new gaskets in back here that we made. I don't have any leaks, it doesn't look like. So we'll come over here to the panel, power on. Put that in the on position. Of course, choke it. I might need 2 hands for this. Fired right up. No extended start. Of course, I did put fresh gas in it. I'll look around here, see if I have a propane hose. We'll throw that on. Try it out too. Okay, so we went ahead, we checked the gas side. Again, I double checked for leaks. Everything looks good on that. It fired right up. This might look a little funny. I had to come up with a couple adapters though, because my hose wasn't the same as the generator needed. I did not have the original hose for the generator. But no problems, throw a couple adapters in there. Ran the hose down. I actually stole the hose from my top hat heater. Should be pretty straightforward. Turn on the gas. Let's see if she fires up. Of course, Throw the choke on, power on, LPG valve on. Alrighty, well, that about wraps it up for today. If I missed anything, you guys want to see anything else, let me know in the comments below. I went ahead and I've thrown all the covers back on it. I'm going to go ahead and give this thing another fire up. I'll take it outside, let it cool off, double check, verify the complaint, fire it up when the engine's cold. I'm going to take care of this. You guys want to follow along for some more technical information on what we did today? Stick around for our geek peek at the end of the episode. Okay, everybody. We're going to do our 2-minute geek peek. A little bit of information, the differences between gas and propane, why you might want one versus the other, what is really the difference. So the first thing I want to touch on is when you get propane in a grill bottle or a 100-pound cylinder or whatever you may get it in, it's in a liquid form. So what is inside of there isn't actually what comes out. When it comes out into the atmosphere, 1 gallon of liquid propane will expand to 270 gallons in quantity of a gas. It turns into a gas. Compared to gasoline, I mean, 1 gallon is 1 gallon. It will evaporate off, but it's not exactly the same thing. The weight is different. This generator has, I believe, a 10-gallon fuel tank on the top. 10 gallons of gasoline is going to weigh about 60 pounds. You're going to have sitting right there. You need to wheel it around. It's going to be really heavy. Propane is 4.2 per 1 gallon. So you could have 10 gallon of propane and only weigh, of course, 40 pounds. So you do have a benefit there. If you're moving it around a lot, that gasoline can be real heavy, really sloshing around in there. The propane is just a simple bottle. You just grab a hold of it by the handle and go with it. No harm, no foul there. The difference in octane rating, there is a difference. Now, the manufacturers will tell you they'll run on the same amount of gasoline. It will run, say, 10 hours on 2 gallons as it would propane. That may be the true if it was unloaded. I don't know that. I've never really done an experiment with that. But I can say, which of course makes a difference when under a heavy load, the octane rating of propane is right around 105, give or take. So it's going to be a better fuel. Of course, you can put 105 octane gasoline in there if you want to. Typically, people are going to do, 87 up to 93 for premium. I can't see why you would put that in a generator. When it comes to a cold start, if you're in a cold climate, propane, when it comes out through that regulator, it is already a gas form. So it mixes really easily with the air. I mean, there's not hardly any mixture happening, right? It's just combining with that air. Of course, gasoline, you're putting a liquid into an air. It's got to atomize. So in the wintertime, a cold start is going to be easier with propane than it would be with gasoline. Of course, with the choke, you should be... I don't think you might ever see a difference unless it's really super cold. The last thing I want to point out is propane does burn cleaner. If you think about it, if a gas engine gets flooded, right, there's too much gas or something going on there, it will burn some black smoke. Propane will never do that. If you have too much propane in there and it's getting flooded out, it's not going to smoke at all. It is a cleaner fuel. So just a couple things to keep in mind if you're thinking about a propane generator versus a gasoline generator. I don't really go either way. They both have pros and cons. They both have their place. That decision is up to you. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you guys like seeing this information. If this is helping you out at all, follow along. We got more videos to come. We'll catch you on the next one.